If you were to ask me a year ago what I thought an Invincible game would look like, I probably would have said something akin to the Insomniac Spider-Man games. An open-world superhero action game featuring Invincible with fluid combat, tons of enemies and villains to fight, upgradable abilities, and an incredible story adapted from the comics and animated show. I still think that's a valid video game idea.
Are you sure?
But yeah, a fighting game should have been more obvious. This is Invincible Versus, a brand new 3v3 tag fighter featuring characters from the Invincible universe. I've been playing this game for the past few days, and I just really want to talk about it because I think there is quite a lot to talk about. Now, I'm going to be tackling this conversation not so much regarding the discourse around fighting games, since I don't play many fighting games, and I am far from an authority on the subject, but I'll rather be talking as a fan of video games as a whole, as well as a fan of the source material. Well, the show, at least. I'll still talk about the gameplay, but it'll be more broad strokes than anything. I'd like to place more focus on things like the story, characters, monetization, DLCs, and what would be cool to see in the future. So if any of that interests you, be sure to stick around. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to the channel. Or if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm not sure how much interest this video is going to bring in, so if you could help a fellow gamer out and like the video and give it your hype points for an algorithm boost, I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, please consider subscribing to the channel for more whatever it is I do. 4,000 subscribers is on the horizon, and I'd love for you to join the squad. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's get into it. I'm going to come out right out the gate and say that Invincible Versus is really fun. Now, I haven't really played online that much, so that stance could change, but the combat in this game feels very fluid and freeform. It's quite responsive and allows for a lot of self-expression with how mechanically dense it is. As I said, this game's main shtick, aside from it being an Invincible game, is that it's a 3v3 tag fighter, meaning you go in each match with 3 characters and you can swap between characters in real time or call them for assists to lengthen your combos or even break your opponent's combos. This allows for tons and tons of varied interactions during matches, even more so when you include all the other mechanics the combat features. You have the boost meter to power up your specials, dashes, and other things, your super meter to unleash devastating cinematic attacks, the precision timed counter tag to knock back an opponent as they tag in another character, and the heroic strike to armor through and break combos when you can't use an assist. There are other mechanics as well, but I'm sure you get it. There are a lot of tools at your disposal here, and all their uses culminate into really fun and explosive matches. I'm really curious to see how the meta develops throughout this game's competitive scene. With so many mechanics, I think the sky's the limit when it comes to how players will make you rethink your purchase of this game. Though with all these mechanics, it is admittedly a lot to keep up with in real time. I still forget about a couple of these mechanics while playing. This was actually a hesitation of mine when I was deciding on buying the game. How accessible is Invincible Versus really? Look, this game was bound to reel in a lot of curious Invincible fans who have maybe a casual experience with fighting games at most. Like, hi, yes, hello, that's me. The IP behind this game has taken over pop culture since the premiere of the animated series. Yes, the comics have been around for years, but the massive success of the show has really established the franchise as a heavy hitter in superhero media and has helped revitalize the entire genre in a time of burnout. Well, I'm happy to report after playing the game that while yes, the game's mechanics can be difficult to get a mastery of, it's not super hard to pick up and learn either. You don't have to do some frame perfect multi-directional input for one move or basic combo. I'd say the skill ceiling is pretty high, but for me not having a ton of experience with fighting games with virtually no experience in the last 5 years or so, I was able to get a good feel for the game after a quick run through the story mode. And I mean quick run very literally. I beat the story mode in like an hour and 20 minutes, which I will admit was pretty disappointing. Now, I don't think anything is confirmed yet, but I'm going to assume that more of the story is going to be released in episodes as the game gets updated, because you cannot end it on a cliffhanger like this. It feels like the beginning of a season of Invincible. But the story as it is now is fine. It's fun, gets to the point, and features really captivating cutscenes with great fight choreography. I also like that it forces all these characters into circumstances where they have to work together. It doesn't try too hard to get you super invested and familiar with the characters, because it's just assuming that you already know and care for them from the show and comics. comics, which is fine, but you can't help but feel like it was cut very short. So I do hope more gets added on in the future, maybe even featuring the characters they'll add as DLC. What I don't hope for is additional story episodes being paywalled. I already paid $50 for this game, I shouldn't have to fork over extra just to complete its story. Especially when $50 is already a bit high of an asking price for the somewhat scarce amount of content in it. After beating the short story and running through the arcade ladders, there's not much else to do outside of online play. On the topic of charging for extra content, I'm not exactly thrilled that the skins are also paywalled. Now you can earn alternate colors for your characters and a couple new costumes for some of them, which might just be enough for you. But if you want an actual distinct appearance for a character, you'll have to drop some hard-earned doubloons for it, and they're not exactly cheap, when again considering you already spent $50 for the game. If anything, these microtransactions should be shortcuts to unlocking these skins. You should be able to grind for them at the very least, in my opinion. Because some of these skins are really cool, and I'm sure even cooler ones will be added in the future. I simply can't justify spending any additional dollars on this game outside of DLC characters. And speaking of the characters, I think they put together a great, well-rounded starting roster, featuring your favorite heroes, villains, and bloodthirsty alien battle cats. Well, just one cat.
My final meal will be my own blood as I choke on it, breathing my last breath after a legendary battle with a superior opponent. More!
The roster may be a little heavy on the Viltrumites, but it's fine. They're the series' main antagonists and serve a purpose in the story mode, and that also means we can expect more variety in the DLC characters. Each of these characters feel really good to play, and they all have different specialties in their combat. Invincible, for example, has a balanced framework that can close distances quickly and overwhelm opponents, making him a rushdown character. A character like Adam Eve has more ranged tools and can be played as a zoner, attacking opponents while she maintains a safe distance from them. You guys get it. Other characters specialize in grappling, mix-ups, setups, powerful armored attacks, and more. So it wouldn't hurt to have a good mix of these traits on your 3-character team to cover for each one's weaknesses. I honestly haven't had enough playtime to properly assess the character balance, but there does seem to be a relatively small power gap between the characters. Each one has their strengths and are very capable of their own powerful combos, but like I said earlier, I'm far from an authority on stuff like this, so moving on. As far as what characters I would like to see later on, I can think of a handful. Now, we already know that Universa and the Immortal are confirmed to be the first 2 DLC characters, with 2 more unrevealed characters planned to also release this year. It does seem that data mining has revealed at least one of these unknown characters. Actually, never mind, there's way more than that. I don't love going over leaks, so what I'm going to do instead is just run through a bunch of characters I would like to see, which also just happens to include these leaked characters, but I won't specify which ones. Go find out for yourself if you'd like. So some characters I would love to see would be Angstrom, Shapesmith, Doc Seismic, Dinosaurus, Oliver, Tech Jacket, Damien Darkblood, Shrinking Ray, Agent Spider, Volcanica, Thetis, the Mauler Twins, Aquarius, Red Rush, War Woman, Darkwing, and of course, Thrag. And let's not forget Donald.
Are you sure?
These characters would absolutely diversify the abilities and playstyles of the roster, which would be great. Now, I'm not going to take these leaks as definite hard facts until they are officially confirmed, so I'm going to temper my excitement until then. There are definitely others to pull from, and I'm sure a lot more in the comics that I don't even know exist yet, but I think this covers a pretty good portion of the franchise. You guys be sure to share in the comments who you'd like to see join the game in future updates. And when it comes to the updates this game will get, I do hope that more content is in the works. I know I already talked about the story and adding new episodes to it, but I'd also love to see more modes and single player content. Like maybe there can be a challenge mode where you have to fight with certain modifiers applied. I'm thinking something almost like the event matches in the Smash Bros games. Like there could be challenges that have you play out scenarios from the actual events of Invincible. Imagine assembling a team to take out all the evil Invincibles during the Invincible War. Just think how cool that would be. And maybe you get exclusive rewards for completing them. How about an endless survival mode? You go in with your team and fight an unending match with new cycles of opponents as you dispatch their teams. See how far you can get, and get XP and rewards based on your survival time. They could rework the arcade mode into something like this, but I'm thinking of something like an adventure mode. It could have a side-scroller feature to it where you actually play on one continuous stage that you gradually move across as you complete fights. Maybe in the breaks between fights you can have the opportunity to heal up and manage your team. What if you you accumulate points after winning fights, and you can use these points to upgrade characters and give them new stats and modifiers. Maybe you can use these points to add more characters to your team. Am I cooking right now? I think so. It sounds good to me. There could be mini games of some sort to break up the monotony of the fights, and if you make it to the end, there is a boss fight. I'm not sure how boss fights would work in this game, whether it would be just a souped up version of a playable character or a unique boss character. It would probably be a unique character to make it feel worthwhile. They could make an original character or characters for it, or something like one of the series Kaiju or Alien Beasts, or maybe characters like Kahor or Omnipotous or Mr. Liu. Quarter Up, Skybound, Kirkman, you're welcome. As far as multiplayer, they could add new modes too. Maybe a random teams mode or a seasonal event mode with a limited pool of characters. I suppose they could implement online challenges to incentivize online play. Like you could earn skins after getting X amount of wins or completing X amount of challenges. Maybe they can integrate co-op into online play. They could have a mode where instead of just tagging in one of your other characters, you actually pass control to one of your friends a la 2xKO. Perhaps it could just be a duo mode with 2 characters instead of 3 to simplify it. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point. Expanding on the game in these ways would absolutely help in maintaining the casual player base's interest, because a lot of them probably aren't going to stick with the game long term if all they have outside of the bare bones single player content are normal online matches. That's how I feel as a casual player, at least. I'd love to hear some new content ideas from you guys in the comments, so be sure to sound off down there. But I think that'll be it for me on this one. I wanted to get this video out in a timely manner, so I'm trying to keep it a bit shorter. I know it's already like a week past this game's release, but you know, better late than never, I guess. I've been really enjoying this game so far. I just wanted to have enough to justify its price because I'm not sure it's there quite yet. But you can tell the developers are really passionate about the IP and do seem pretty receptive to feedback. So I like to think that this game will be steered in the right direction as it develops. Let me know what your thoughts on the game are, if you've been playing it, are planning on buying it, or aren't sold on it yet. And if you made it this far in the video, I seriously appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, so please leave a like if you did, and hype the video if you're watching on your phone to give it a boost. It would mean a ton. And please consider subscribing to the channel to help push us past 4,000 subscribers. We're getting closer to that goal, and I'd love for you to be a part of the journey. But with that, I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon, and please have a fantastic rest of your day. Seriously though, they should really add that adventure mode.
Are you sure?